Hello and welcome to more Rise of the Immortals Cup action. Here we have a series from Group A, and in the top position on Roanoke we have Deathly's Rage, which consists of the players Black Death and Crazed Chariot, and they're taking on the opponents Veni, Vidi, Airsnipe, which are Congreve and VVA Ubilaz. These are clanmates from the team VVA. Black Death and Crazed Chariot, two players who know each other pretty well. And it's very nice to see a Cybern player. Cybern is underused in general, so Black Death is one of those people who likes to use it. We'll see how well he does against Congreve. Congreve is known to be very strong with his UEF play. And Ubilaz will have an extremely difficult task against Crazed Chariot, because Crazed Chariot always does something new in each game, so we'll see if he pulls out any creative tricks out of his hat for this one. Looks like he's going for very quick air factory. That's his plan, it seems. So two Seraphims, so it's a Sarah and Sarah fight as well as a UEF versus Cybern fight, so nice to see UEF and Cybern make a small comeback. Not much happening in the first 3 minutes, people just building their initial structures. Blaz gets his air factory. Chariot already with his air factory, he's making a scout. So definitely use that. And Black Death just making a whole bunch of power. Oh my god. I'm sorry about that. I had to go do something quick. And now we can get back to some actual commentating on the game. So Ubilaz and Crazed Chariot fighting, but Crazed Chariot gets the better of the air fight. He's gonna win. 35 health left. He doesn't get another shot off. Ubilaz coming with his ACU and an engineer, but he's also surrounding the area with artillery, so good move. Chariot coming in with a bomber, and he's making some quick navy. Ubilaz, well actually, no one has even planned their navy yet, so Chariot way ahead of everyone. Congreve comes in with a drop. He gets a factory. And this is actually a very nice placement for a drop, because if he gets a point defense here, then Black Death cannot just walk out, he's going to have to go around. The bomber a little bit too late to prevent the construction of the point defense, and the factory is already there, so the damage is done. So Congreve coming in unopposed. It's going to be very difficult for Black Death to do anything. And now we're going to see Ubilaz meet Crazed Chariot here on this island. Some sneaky, that probably wasn't intentional, but was still a good dodge. It's a very confused artillery piece here. He doesn't know what to do, and he just gets killed. So both players sending floating RD groups into the middle. Chariot gets a land factory up. Ubilaz is now just arriving. But what is this? He has Tech 2 on his ACU, so he must have stopped to get the upgrade, because this is a very smart move. He's going to be able to get Tech 2 point defense. So Ubilaz and Crazed Chariot taking completely different approaches. 2 transports from Black Death. One gets shot, the other might go down as well. Nope, he saves it with 50 health left. And it's going straight to Congreve's base. It is gonna drop off, so oh, tragic for Black Death there. That would have completely devastated Congreve, would have taken out all his power. Congreve saved by the thinnest of margins there. Now the 2 ACUs going at it, but Congreve has almost guaranteed himself possession of the island with 2 land factories and engineers. The other one is not nearly as easy to call. Ubala's with Tech 2 point defense pushing the ACU back, and he can deal with the Arty with his ACU, assuming he micros with just a little bit. However, Crazed has a lot of units, so Ubala still needs to be careful even with his Tech 2. Ubala is starting his own naval production. He's got a proxy naval factory, and he's making some engineers out of it. Both players are very low HP on this side of the map, but Congreve doesn't care. He's got his island. Now he's got a submarine. That could really be really bad for Black Death. He has just 2100 HP. This submarine could put some serious pain on him. It looks like that's what's gonna happen. And he's starting to lose health. He's getting hit by torpedoes. And he realizes what's going on. He's getting into a Tech 2 transport, so very well done by Black Death. He gets out alive and in one piece. And he does have air cover, so he's going to run back home. So Black Death does very well to save himself. Here we've got gunships from Crazed Chariot. Jara helping to disrupt Ubala's a little bit. Looks like Chariot with complete air control as well. Looks like the secret is out and it's no longer just patrol routes. Players are trying to micro their air. Ubala's realizes what's going on. He needs to get that Tech 2 flag out as soon as possible. Although one gunship isn't really much of a threat, and it just died right there. See what Crazed Chariot has planned next. It's got a lot of Tech 1. Not much else. Ubala's, if you just move this, it could kill the mass extractor. Right now it's too close. So standoff in the middle, no one really has possession of the island. It's a lot of interceptors stacked on top of each other here. And Ubala's can definitely make a point defense creep to take over this island. That'd definitely be an option. Right now he's probably got up about here. He just needs to get just a few more point defense. But now he's been cut off. Chariot just went around him and he has cut off his naval production. So no more reinforcements. He's got a destroyer coming up, but it's only about 30% done. Congreve coming in, he has taken air over Black Death's base. Black Death now with Tech 2 on his ACU. We've got Tech 2 Navy production as well. With Congreve coming in with a significant naval force. Two of these submarine hunters should do something. Yeah, they do chase away the Navy. So good work from Black Death. Crazed Chariot with a lot of gunships. This is enough to snipe an ACU. At the moment they're just going to clean up some artillery. Crazed Chariot just sitting in the middle of the water. If he was to get hit by some torpedo bombers, it could be very bad for him, although there's not much chance of that with so much air. And Ubala's is looking a little bit unprotected here. He's got his Tech 2 flag, but that's pretty far back. And he is getting hit really hard. He just needs to run back to the Tech 2 flag. That's what he needs. Where'd it go? Did it get killed? Yeah, he doesn't have his Tech 2 flag anymore, and Ubalaz is sniped by Crazy Jared here. Minute 16. And all his crap is gonna disappear. So Ubalaz was doing very well. He had taken over the middle, he was getting his navy. But Crazy Jared just came in and sniped him, so now it's very important for the players to get to these islands and reclaim. You can see Congreve responds very quickly for the transport, although he's just sending it to the middle. He wants to get NGs on that transport and move them to the middle. Crazy Jared is not wasting any time. He's dispatched a Tech 2 transport to the middle. Not to the middle, to this island. And Congreve running there as well, so that's the name of the game in this situation, is to get the other person's base. So even though Crazy Jared had a longer distance to go, because he used a Tech 2 transport, he's going to get there ahead of Congreve. That is a huge advantage in time. He needs to get a factory. If he can get a factory, but Crazy Jared doesn't pay attention, and so that allows Congreve to catch up. And we'll see which player micros first. Congreve starts a point defense. And then he stops the point defense. Transport sees everything. Now Congreve knows. To the factory against the point defense race. So the NGs are all dying. It looks like this island is Crazy Jared's to take. And this transport is heroically shooting away at this semi-built factory with its enormous 3 DPS. So it's doing its absolute best to help Crazy Jared. In the meantime, looks like an even fight between Congreve and Black Death. Black Death and Crazy Jared both get to the middle. Why do I keep saying middle? I must have been watching too many Suttons. They both get here to this island, and they're going to be getting mass from there. Looks like Crazy Jared has taken over Congreve's, Ubalaz's old base. And now Congreve only has 2 islands, his opponents have 4, so that's a very big disadvantage. Some destroyers putting a lot of pressure on Congreve's island. It's a very secure island though. And these destroyers won't get very far. They will be hunted down. So it worked for multiplayers all around. Congreve, he looks to be in a very good position because you're not going to be able to break his base anytime soon. He's got a very solid naval production. If he has the economy to support all this, which it looks like he does, he definitely has the mass to support a production like this. He's in very, very good shape. All that matters for him right now is scouting and building the right units. He does have a cruiser which can destroy everything here. But really the prize here was all the reclaimable mass, and Crazy Jared has gotten it all. Reclamation at minute 22, Crazy Jared at 16,000, Black Death at 6,000, Congreve at 11,000, so Crazy Jared with literally double Congreve's reclamation, and that's a huge advantage. Congreve just hanging out. He's got a lot of power here under a shield. He is on a very hard naval spam, and he is actually being aggressive, which is nice to see. He is attacking. There's a Tech 2 torpedo launcher from Black Death. Gets overwhelmed. but he's got a lot of naval units to defend, so Congreve just has to run for his life. And he's being pushed back on the top as well by Crazed Chariot, so looks like Congreve is in the process of having his navy destroyed. One thing he does have going for him though is air. He seems to have more of it than his opponents. Crazed Chariot has transitioned to Tech 3 Navy, and once he gets a good enough force of Tech 3 submarines, this game will be over. Because there's no way Congreve can deal with Tech 3 submarines and Black Death's constant pressure on the side. Now this transport, which heroically moved the engineers over here from Crazed Chariot's base and then heroically killed a factory, is now just being shot shamefully by an interceptor while it's parked on the ground. So that's an unfortunate end to that unit. Congreve with a very impressive naval spam this whole time. Even though he keeps losing his navy, he can just rebuild it at an enormously huge rate. Though Crazed Chariot, if he just focuses on his Tech 3 naval production, that is the key to winning for him. Black Death scouting, he sees everything. And he's going to see that there's not much besides the naval production, so he's going to realize that Congreve is putting everything in the navy. And really, it's a matter of time, because with such a deficit in map control, although he might make up for it now, if he can do enough damage to this island. Just watching the micro there, thinking about other things. And with so many Tech 3 submarines coming in, we can say that the game is over, because UEF suck at torpedoes anyway, and against 3 Tech 3 submarines, not much hope. So great naval battles all around from all these players. And Congreve trying to use Tech 2 torpedo launchers to his advantage. He might actually get that one done, that'll buy him some time. Now he's going to see that there's Tech 3 submarines on the battlefield. And that might be a sign for him to just give up. Still very even naval fight here. Although once the shield goes down, it won't be nearly as even. Now everything from Congreve is going to die. Submarines get underneath the shield, and slowly but surely Congreve's navy is going to be destroyed. Unless he can get like 15 torpedo boats out of nowhere, he is done. Now there's 5 Tech 3 submarines. Actually, torpedo boats from UEF has extremely good anti-torpedo defense, so if he can get a bunch of those, then he should be in decent shape for the time being. And it's just all been teching from Deathly's rage, and we are just waiting for the game to end, because now Congreve is just down to 1 island, and 1 against 5, it's not going to work out. He is trying to go Tech 3 Navy. Could be going for battle cruisers. Now he's going for battleship, which is a very bad choice in the face of so many Tech 3 subs. It would be nice style though if you could get one of these out. It would be a good way to go out. In fact, actually, if he can get enough reconnaissance, he can ground fire against the Tech 3 torpedo, well, Tech 3 submarines. At the moment, his entire economy is going into the one battleship, so this is definitely an all or nothing for Congreve. He just wants to be able to hold these off until he gets that out, and he's building it at a very good rate. But Black Death's Navy coming in to sandwich him from the back, and this is effectively the end. Congreve did have some hopes if he could get this battleship out, but with Black Death gonna cut him off from behind. Although, if enough of these engineers stay alive and get the battleship out, looks like he will get it out though. So he does have some hope for now. Congreve is able to get a battleship in minute 32. And we'll see what he chooses to do with it. He shouldn't really care about this for the moment because, well, obviously he wants to care about it, but the battleship is going to have a tough time killing all this in time. That's an unfortunate destroyer with 64 kills. The battleship snipes it down. Now with these Tech 3 submarines so close, all the engineers will die very rapidly. Might see the shots here. Cruiser goes down. And the UAF battleship actually doesn't have any torpedoes at all, so that's why it's such a bad choice against these, unless you can actually see them and then you can ground fire them. And now Congreve has been killed, and after 34 minutes, Deathly's Rage takes game 1, and so we'll take a look at game 2 in a second. And we're back with the second game of the match between Veni, Vidi, Airsnipe, and Deathly's Rage. And the two players that we have here representing Deathly's Rage is Black Death in the bottom left as the Cybern in pink. In the top right, currently 1-0 down in this series, it is Congreve in the blue UEF who represents Veni, Vidi, Airsnipe. He has to win. If Black Death can win, he will shut this series out before a third game. So that's pretty much the background between these two players if you haven't watched game 1, although that would be really weird because it's in the same video. Just wanted to make it sound more dramatic. So by this point, players have figured out that the ideal opening is either first land, second air, or all three factories are first land. Congreve going with a slight variation, but the general idea is the same. So, we'll see how this one turns out. Black Death not really expanding too much early on. He just made a scout and then a bunch of engineers. Congreve seems to expand a little bit faster, but Black Death not really taking his mass extractors too well. His engineers are just walking around randomly, so that's not very efficient. Black Death was going to work on a power generator, but he thinks better of it, and he's going to be moving out to the middle. And he's got a huge land span planned. And he's going with a Jester. Here coming up at minute 3, he's going to get a Jester, and that's a very good way to open up the game against Congreve, who doesn't have anything to defend against air. He will get his air factor in a little bit, but at the moment he has nothing to stop this Jester. So, very good move by Black Death. He's using Cybern very well in the early game, as well as using the Speedy Mantis to raid. Here comes the Jester. he is going to force a lot of flak from Congreve. He's going to lose all his engineers. He will go after the radar and another engineer. He doesn't even lose the Jester. Survives with 114 health. That's going to run to the side. It might even kill another engineer. So Black Death, and he's sneaking an engineer around Congreve's force. My god. Ridiculous stuff from Black Death. Even though Congreve had forces here, that's not even going to stop Black Death from expanding to the right side. And he's going to flood the top with Mantis. He's already in the middle. Complete domination by Black Death early on. This is wonderful to see. He's playing this nearly perfectly. Finally loses the Jester, but it did its work. Now we see 4 engineers on power. He's very concerned about his power, I guess. I don't know why. Congreve finds himself in the middle. He's surrounded by enemy forces. Black Death could probably kill him right now if he wanted to. All the forces are moving back to surround Congreve. And if Black Death pushes out, he can get the win. Well, the Congreve has quite a few units. No reason for Black Death to overextend himself. Just restarting his air production. It's a good piece of bombing by Congreve. Message on FAF. Looks like he's very intent on taking out point defense. Can't blame him because it's probably what's preventing him from pushing in. So Black Death still in the spear position, but Congreve has recovered on the top pretty nicely. And big force coming down to the bottom from Congreve. So while all of Black Death's forces are in the middle, Congreve is pushing around the sides, leaving the middle open. He's counting on the fact that Black Death will not attack him. We'll see how each player transitions into past 10 minutes, because that's the marker at which something usually changes. So Black Death is going to claim both Hydras in the middle. That's going to be a very big advantage for him, because that's like getting 10 power generators for a very low price, because Hydras are so cheap. Big land engagement on the bottom. It's all going to come down to positioning since the numbers are almost identical. And NG in the field reclaiming. Congreve abandons the middle, and he is pushing very hard to the left with his ACU. Black Death ready to attack. He's got quite a bit of Medusas, which do stun if they hit. And he does cut into Congreve's force from the side, so flanks him. The way you position your units is very important in these fights, and you can see how Congreve was caught with his guns facing the wrong way. And Black Death even going to cut him off here, so Black Death showing us why he's such a great player. He knows how to play Sideburn perfectly. He attacks you, and then when you try to retreat, he cuts you off. Congreve trying to attack him from the side. This could be a very good move if he can pull it off with his ACU, because Black Death's ACU has left. Looks like there is no follow-up plan for Black Death, just a lot of Tech 1. Congreve still just trying to survive, because he doesn't really have any map control, and he's about to lose it. Congreve now has his force standing still And when you stand still against Cybern, they will make you pay, because then they will stun you and then destroy all your units. Congreve with massive force and weight. He was hoping that Black Death would move out so he could catch him from the side. Black Death is not going to let that happen. Instead, he's going to use his ACU to pick up a lot of veterancy against these units. And Black Death's follow-up plan is Tech 2. He built it right in the middle of the map, that's why I didn't see it. So he has made some hoplites. Still no reason for him to overextend himself while he has complete map control. He just needs to expand, take his mexes, improve his economy, make more units, and then eventually overpower Congreve, because Congreve doesn't really have much at this point. Congreve sees the Tech 2. Although he's got a huge army coming in. This is how Congreve has been playing. He's been making huge armies and then just pushing out, losing map control and then regaining it. Look at the scores, they are almost identical. These two players have almost identical economies. Now Congreve with the point defense, he could start to push out with the PD creep. Lots of units for Black Death to reclaim, and he's going to have to retake the top once again, so Congreve is definitely not making it easy for Black Death to retake map control. This would be a great time for Black Death to improve his economy, because Congreve has surpassed him in score, which means he has a better eco. Although the difference is so small, it's pretty much negligible. Congreve moving out, he's playing a very dangerous game. Dodging a lot of Arty there. So if he's going to be point defense creeping, then Black Death needs to either get Tech 2 in his ACU, which is... He looks like he's getting the gun. So he should just get a Tech 2 engineer and start a counter point defense creep. That's what he needs to do. Now he's got a stealth field that will protect him for now. But I don't understand why he's getting the gun. It definitely seems like he's getting the gun. It's a right arm upgrade. Congreve with Tech 2 units of his own, a mongoose on the bottom. Congreve now takes air control, so Congreve now looks like he's in the better position. I mean, he doesn't really have map control. The bottom is still contested, and Black Death has the top. So actually, map control is very even right now. Black Death, I hope I was right about the gun upgrade. Yeah, he did get the gun, so I wasn't tripping. He's now getting attacked by the Tech 2 point defense. And as predicted, he's getting stealth. Stealth plus gun is very effective. It's very cheap and a very effective way to improve your ACU. Congreve with a big push to the top. It was a feint, because now he's going back. His ACU, is Congreve forgetting to micro his ACU? He needs to get out of there. He needs to get back to his force. Oh, this is awesome. Black Death getting into the back, and he has the chance to kill all of Congreve's power. If he had just focused on some of his power, it would have been very devastating. Then I was just going to leave wrecks all over the place. Congreve now way ahead in score. So he must have been doing a lot of teching to have such a much better score, and it doesn't look like he has. He might. Let's check reclamation here at minute 18. Congreve at 8,000. Black Death at 6,000. So that's the difference. Still very hard to call a winner. It looked like Black Death had won it for sure early on. First with the Jester and then taking map control very dominantly. But it doesn't look like he's in such a superior position right now. Black Death's base has not been attacked this entire game. And he needs to come up with something to break this deadlock. Because as it is, Congreve is actually doing better than him. He's going to be taking over the bottom. Top is still contested. Black Death going to get some veterancy here. He's making a lot of Tech 2 flag because he's worried about air, while Congreve not actually making any air units at the moment. Black Death leading with the ACU again. He just took out the radar. It looks like that was a Tech 2 radar, so Congreve, who a second ago had complete radar coverage, does not have it anymore. And he's going to have to be scouting a lot. It's like two very similar forces just staring at each other and no one wants to engage. Black Death once again looks like he's in a better position. He will take over the map on the top. And now here comes the big engagement. It will all come down to micro. The hoplites and mongoose need to stay at the back, but instead they're all charging forward. It looks like Black Death is going to just roll over Congreve's army, and he is going to sandwich him, so that is the cue for Black Death to take over the bottom as well. So extremely methodical from Black Death. I mean, he's just very patient, very methodical. Here at minute 21, he's not being too eager. There were plenty of chances where he might have been able to kill Congreve, but he's just pulled back and gently prodded and poked, so now he has complete map control. And once again, he's at an advantage in terms of score. Congreve is probably scratching his head wondering what he's supposed to do, because all Black Death really needs to do to win is to maintain the bottom, because he has a Tech 2 point defense up here which is protecting the top. Congreve should realize it and just pull away. You don't want to take Cerberus fire for too long. Black Death using his ACU. He's at 49 kills, 50 kills. He is content with containing Congreve inside his base. I think a good move, if I were in Black Death's position, would be to get Tech 3 land. He definitely has the time to do it, because Congreve will not be taking over the map anytime soon. So this would be a good time to either make a whole bunch of economy or to get Tech 3 land. And instead of going Tech 2 air, he's just making another air factory. So not sure why he's doing that. Black Death is probably going to be picking up as much of this mass as he can. He's going to make a wall of point defense. There is no way you're going to get through here with 3 of them, and there's going to be even more in the near future. So Black Death has secured the top for good. The bottom is still a questionable area, but he's got his ACU to protect it, so Congreve is completely contained within his base. Now getting an upgrade. It's could be the gun. I'm not sure what it is. Yeah, it's the gun. So once you've contained your opponent like this, all you need to do is come up with a plan to win and then execute it. And that's all it takes. This engineer was reclaiming under the nose of all these units, and he's going to continue to do so. Very brave Tech 2 engineer. Black Death now with Tech 2 mobile missile launchers assaulting Congreve's base. 74 kills on his ACU, Congreve at 48. And the wall of point defense continues. Now some scouting from Black Death. He's going to see if there's any weakness he can exploit. Still a very good base for Congreve, not going to be easy to break. With a flood of units, there won't be much he can do. Looks like he's ready to go Tech 3. He just wants to. And he's going to continue walling off the map with Tech 2 point defense. So once you get walls like this, you pretty much won the game. At least, well, not won the game, you've won this section of the map. Black Death realizes that Congreve's force is out of position. He's going to try to do a run by. Congreve pulls all his units back to intercept. Pushes defended against. Black Death now so far ahead in economy that there's really no way he's going to lose. Now continuing to surround with Congreve with Tech 2 point defense. And he's taking the opportunity to just make more economy for himself. No reason not to at this point. He's making some Wagners. Not sure why. They're not the best at sieging people. Now he's going to be walling off the bottom with Tech 1 point defense. Not as effective as making a wall of Tech 2. This engineer would be better advised to just reclaim. Because Congreve is going to be reclaiming. And he's going Tech 3 land. So Congreve thinking he can make a push out with Tech 3 land. But even with Tech 3, you're not going to get into the top. Now he's going to continue the wall with Tech 2 artillery. Congreve now will find himself stuck. He's going to get out of there. Once again, Black Death being very careful and methodical. He realizes he has the game won. He doesn't want to throw it away. My only question is, does he know that he doesn't even know that this factory is upgrading, so the Tech 3 might come as a bit of a surprise to him. Now he's going to find out because he's scouting. He's going to see that the Tech 3 land factory is done and it's making Percy's. And he starts his own Tech 3. He's got his ACU to overcharge. As long as he doesn't run out of units, he should be okay against Percy's. But he doesn't want to fall too far behind, so some bricks would be very helpful right now. Even Percy's are not going to do much here. And now the artillery is shooting. Let's just take a look at the range here. So you can hit most of Congreve's base, so Congreve is in pretty big trouble against this artillery because it can just... A shell here would be devastating, a shell over here would be devastating. A shell pretty much anywhere is going to hurt a lot. Really nice Tech 2 wrecks here that need to be picked up. There's Tech 2 air for Black Death, some Tech 2 gunships. There's one right there, another one. Congreve with 21,000 health. Black Death only at 14,000, so in an ACU fight, Congreve would have the advantage. Now 2 Tech 2 artillery. And here come the bricks from Black Death. She's going to be in a very good position to fight off the Percy. Now 15,000 points ahead in score. That signals a massive advantage in economy. He doesn't want to move too close to this force though. Claiming even more. Black Death has reclaimed 15,000. Congreve has reclaimed 17,000. Congreve way ahead in the reclamation count, so that's probably the only advantage he has at this point. And Black Death, following the calm, steady mentality that he's had all game, he's just gonna contain Congreve more, and because he can't push out through here, you can see it's impossible. So he's just gonna contain him and wait for his base to disappear. Although Congreve definitely can make a good push back. Although a few shields from Black Death will solve this problem. You can see even a Percy dies very quickly when confronted by that much point defense. Some ACU shots exchanged. This is probably the first mistake Black Death has made in this area. He's not making any shields. Just one shield would make his life so much easier. At the moment he's just getting demolished. And he's going to try to snipe it down with his Tech 2 gunships. He does so successfully. However, the last shell did get off. And that's not good. It actually took out quite a bit. A brick on top is going to defend from any of the Tech 1 garbage that's coming through. So very good economy from Black Death right now. Much better than anything Congreve has. Congreve now calls it GG. The game was decided a long time ago. And Deathly's Rage takes game number 2. And they do take the win in this group. And so they have a point now in Group A. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one.